Hello, guys, and welcome to Cricket Caviar. Australia is finally touring New Zealand after 8 years, and what a shame it is that there will be just two test matches. The crowds will be coming in big time for these two test matches, and another sad news is, I mean, two test matches. It's a waste. First of all, these two nations deserve they are neighboring countries, they come from the same culture, they deserve a long test series. I don't know what is the
Yes.
problem. It's just India, England and Australia are just hijacking test cricket right now, and I feel sad. And another sad point, Pratik, I'll start with that, is Neil Wagner, a valiant and brave servant of New Zealand cricket, who was born in South Africa, is finally saying goodbye to cricket. And it was a sad note, and he cried during the press conference today because he was told that he will not be selected for this series. Although he's in the squad for the first test, he'll be released uh, from the squad for second test.
It
I've
sounds like a
seen,
post-retirement. The guy could have played another year or so, right? He is
yeah,
such a good bowler. But New Zealand wants to look at Will Rourke, who made his debut
hmm,
in the last series, and
hmm.
he's a tall, fast bowler. So they're more interested in the young talent.
Yeah, let's talk about Neil Wagner a bit. The guy actually was asked to name his special moments, and he said winning the WTC final and winning versus India by 40 runs in 2014 when Dhoni captained India, and also, you know, I was surprised he didn't mention the moment which was my favorite, which was he bowling at Pakistan with broken toes during the COVID era. There was a test match played, and day five, I
Yeah,
remember Fawad Alam was just defending from one end, and New Zealand were not able to break through, and he bowled 28 overs. So I have a couple
Pakistan
of
were trying for a draw. Yeah, they had to face like 120 overs, and they faced 110 overs almost. They were very close to get that draw, but yeah, in the
yeah.
end, Wagner took those wickets.
See, this is Neil Wagner in South Africa with his schoolmates AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis. Obviously, very unlucky to have not played in South Africa. He moved to New Zealand. And just imagine what would have been the bowling attack had Neil Wagner stayed with Rabada and with all these Norkia, Rabada, all these guys playing. It would have been just phenomenal to see Neil
Yeah,
Wagner. But luck had him come to New Zealand, and this is the another one which I was mentioning to you, the broken toes Wags. He bowled 28 overs with painkillers. This was
phenomenal.
the
Yeah.
and of course the sad face of Jimmy Anderson always makes an appearance. One run and
Yes, earlier last year.
New Zealand
Yeah.
were following on. So it is just brilliant what he did there.
And this
So
guy's a pitch independent bowler. Like he can because he has that such a good short ball. He has the most
mm,
accurate that short ball. He can
mm,
trouble any good batter. He troubled Steve Smith in the last test series they played together, even though Australia won 3-0. But he was
mm,
able to trouble the middle order. And it's a shame that he's not getting picked
yeah.
for any of the matches in this series.
Yeah, but let's now move on to the series now, and of course Neil Wagner is not there, but Will
Yeah.
O'Rourke,
And
Matt
to your
Henry.
other point, like you said, New Zealand is always getting two test matches, even though they became World Test
Mm,
Championship final. They won that
mm,
final. And after the final, when they did say in the press conference, one of the players did say that we would like to play more bigger test series. But that somehow didn't happen for New Zealand. England is the only team who plays three tests with them. So they always get 13 tests in the cycle, and which is very low compared to like India, England, Australia, who get like at least 18 tests.
mm.
So that's another thing I have noticed.
Yeah, that's sad, and especially so less frequently Australia tour New Zealand. That's also sad. I mean, last I just some stats are just shocking that Pat Cummins and Mitchell Stark have never played a test match in New Zealand. That is one of the
Yeah,
most
Mitchell
talking.
Stark. Yeah.
And Daryl Mitchell has never played a test match versus Australia till now. So,
Oh, that's
very
interesting.
less frequently they play against each other. And the last test,
Yeah, learn something from India and Sri Lanka. How frequently we play each other.
yeah. And the last time Australia won in New Zealand 2-0, it was, Adam Voges and Joe Burns who were
Mhm.
man of the match in that series. And Adam Voges
Very
was going through a very purple patch. If you remember, he was averaging some
yeah, yeah.
85 or something in Test cricket.
Yeah, the
And
poor guy got dropped just because of one series against South Africa, the one
yeah,
where Philander and Rabada created havoc.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he scored 239 in one of those Test matches, and Joe Burns also scored a big 100 in the other Test match. But I don't know. I don't understand, Pratik, why Tim Southee is such a why Tim Southee is made the captain. Now that Williamson has come back, I think Tim Southee should not be the captain because he takes one place. You know, why is Wagner gives you so much diversity in the bowling attack with that bowling those short bouncers, and now Tim Southee is just going to bowl the same as what Matt Henry does. So I don't know what
Yeah.
variety he will provide. So they made him captain. So now obviously they have to play him. And
So
yeah,
do you remember whenever India travels to New Zealand, they give them like a fast bowling paradise, green pitch. They try to challenge Indian batting. I think they're going to do the same with Australia. They're not going to give them another opportunity like where Voges made double hundreds. I don't think the pitches will be very good for batting here. Yeah, maybe for some players if they really apply themselves again, like Kane Williamson, they can get away with a 50 or an odd 100, but I generally feel that the ball will swing and seam, and they wanted to keep one expert, which is Tim Southee. Bolt is already not playing test cricket, so I guess that is the only reason I'm seeing that Southee is still the captain. And what a rare occasion, two fast bowlers captaining their test sides.
yeah.
This is another thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah. And let's see, Will or Urke. Actually, the decision to play to sideline Wagner was also because of the second test, where actually New Zealand were trailing after the first innings, and they had dropped Mitchell Santner, and Dane
Mhm.
Piet went on to pick 5 wickets. So that's how this decision was influenced. And another thing I want to mention, Pratik, New Zealand just broke a very long curse, of some 60 years or something, that they beat South Africa in a series finally. So
Yeah.
maybe it's the season for breaking curses for New Zealand, and they will finally win another test match. They've only won one test in last 29 test matches in last 31 years. So, and that test
The
match was in Hobart. It was not in New Zealand actually. I don't know when they won in New Zealand, last time versus Australia, because even that test match in 2011 was won by Doug Bracewell, and it was in Hobart. So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I honestly have really high hopes from New Zealand. We always say they are under a mental pressure against the Aussies, but we are seeing that trend is slowly breaking. Like you remember their inspiring performance in the World Cup against Australia in the one that was played in Australia in the group match. They absolutely smashed the Aussies, and even in Dharamshala last year in the ODI World Cup match, they did
Hmm,
not seem to be under any pressure. They fought really hard. They just lost the
hmm,
match by a bare margin, so
hmm,
I guess that mental factor is finally going away, and I really expect New Zealand at home to put up an
hmm.
inspired performance. A 2-0 here, I think, will almost seal their spot for the finals. So it's a
Yeah.
very good chance for New Zealand.
Yeah, they are leading the WTC table, and Australia are close on their heels. And Devon Conway is out, so Will Young is going to play for New Zealand. And for Australia, I think they will continue the same team which lost to Shamar Joseph. So actually,
Yeah,
I was thinking, Wagner is the father of Shamar. Wagner is like inspired Shamar Joseph in a way, because he was also the broken toes. He was the OG
yeah.
broken toes bowler, and, and Shamar Joseph also did the same. So
Somehow they bowl even better with the broken toes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now
But
there will be no
but what do you
broken
think about?
toes.
I want to ask a question to you. What do you think about the Australian middle order? Like a bunch of all rounders, and
Yeah,
Australia really seem to like it. Like they like to play Marsh, Cameron Green all together.
yeah.
But what is your
Actually,
take on it?
actually, Australian middle order has been really weak. If you see the stats, they were saved by Mitchell Marsh versus Pakistan, and also versus West
Head
Indies.
by
It
in one
was
of the matches. Head, yeah,
yeah,
in
and
against
Travis
West
Head
Indies.
was there was a good 100 from Travis Head. He didn't do anything except for that 100 in the entire summer,
In the summer.
and and you know. of course, their middle order has become weak because Steve Smith has moved to the opening slot and Cameron Green has replaced him. So Steve Smith was a great batsman at number 4, and he's basically left the middle order a bit vulnerable because if they had gone for a traditional opener like Cameron Bancroft, I think the batting unit would have been much stronger. But they have sacrificed their batting to improve their bowling because they also know that bowling wins the test match. Just like how India sacrificed Akshar Patel for Kuldeep Yadav, they
Mm.
actually sacrificed Cameron Bancroft for Cameron Green. Cameron
Mm.
for Cameron, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, Green has actually played well. He was not in the T20 squad, so he scored a 100 in the Sheffield Shield, and let's see what happens because it will be interesting. But they'll miss Wagner, who dominated Steve Smith. He got him out 5 times actually, and he has his record versus Australia strike rate
Yeah.
average. Everything is just phenomenal. His average against Steve Smith
Honestly, I
is
was very
6 runs.
surprised when they told that he'll not play in this series because I thought his record just against the
Hmm.
opposition will speaks volumes and he might be picked because of that.
And
But
I
yeah,
saw a video,
anyways, that's
Pratik,
their
where he
call.
was bowling to Matthew Wade. I don't know if you have seen that video. He keeps bowling to, I'll share with you. So he keeps bowling to Matthew Wade bouncers, and Matthew Wade is just like letting them hit his body. And they are both staring each other. And it was just a phenomenal moment of Test cricket. And not to forget, actually, Neil Wagner, yeah, one of the special moments that he mentioned was he saved one Test match batting with Ish Sodhi versus England. I
That I
think
don't
we
remember.
saw this, but we have forgotten this. But yeah, he
Yeah,
saved one test match with the bat also. He played 103 balls. Yeah, so they'll miss him a lot.
yeah.
They'll miss him a lot. But Will O'Rourke has a great chance to prove himself. So let's see how it goes.
With Steve Smith playing in the opening slot, it adds more pressure to Marnus
Hmm,
Labuschagne also to play a longer innings and support the middle
yeah.
order. He has been struggling. His luck has run out. So it's again a very important series for him. He might be dropped if he fails here. So
uh,
this is a very important series for Marnus Labuschagne as well. And he recently
yeah.
said that I actually gave too much energy in practice in 2023 and that's something I want to change in 2024, save more energy for the match. So let's see
Hmm.
if it makes any sense.
And also the New Zealand batters have to step up because Will Young, actually, they have
Will Young,
recalled.
I'm very disappointed with Will Young. They keep writing articles about him, like how beautiful technique he is. He's a prodigy. I haven't seen that talent on the field. Like, I'm sorry, Will Young. I feel Rachin Ravindra is much better than Will Young. Even Tom Blundell, I will play instead of Will Young. So Will Young, if he plays here, he has to prove.
No,
He has
Rachin
to
and
prove.
Tom Blundell are anyway playing. So now the top, the main news is that your favorite is back in the squad, although he's not going to play. Henry Nichols, the grinder.
Oh,
What?
okay. He was some under investigation, right? Like some
Yeah,
suspicion
but
on.
he's been recalled into the squad now, Henry Nichols, and he will obviously
I would play
play.
Henry Nichols for Will Young, but
But
yeah, it's not up
Rachin
to
will
me.
play. He will not play. Rachin will play. So Henry Nichols is in the squad, but he will not play.
But for the
And
comeback, you should announce Daryl Mitchell's comeback. Like he is the man, and he's back
yeah,
after that
very.
missing
And
the T20 series.
I was reading that Daryl Mitchell spent his initial years in Perth, so he has a
Oh,
lot of Australian friends. And
yeah.
one more factor is Australia actually have Daniel Vittori as the coach, so he's
Yes.
uh, Pat Cummins actually joked in
Assistant
the
coach.
conference that I have not seen Daniel Vittori since we have landed in New Zealand because he's hanging with the Black Caps and his family. But actually,
That's so funny.
then he became serious and he said, "Ki no, actually, he's been giving us a lot of insights because only Josh Hazelwood has played on this ground. No, and Steve Smith has played on this ground. No one else
Mm.
has from Australian squad has played on this ground. So he's giving lot of insights to us and." Wellington, there is a speciality. There is a lot of wind which blows in Wellington.
Indeed.
So, yeah, it's a windy ground and
There's
conditions can
actually a
change.
very funny thing I wanted to share. So 8 years ago, when Nathan Land played here, he actually joked after the match that I lost my hair because of the wind here.
Yeah. And it's very windy and there is something about the pitch because it looks very green a pitch, but the last 3 teams who have batted first, they have all scored 400 plus, but New Zealand have still won the last 5 test matches at this venue, including one versus India, so it's going to be interesting.
Shikhar, what I want to see is everyone is expecting Santner to play, but I want New Zealand to go there and bowl first and go with all quicks. And
All
then if you
quick.
need some spin overs, Rachin is always there.
And
So
Phillips,
that would be
and
something
Phillips,
interesting.
and
Yeah,
and
and
that
Phillips.
and that's what is also interesting about both these teams. Pratik, both have all rounders in their batters. Like Phillips and Rachin is their spin all rounders, and they have Cameron Green and Mitchell
Marsh.
Marsh. So both have so many all rounder depth, and you know the fourth. If you say that the fourth pacer, it will be most probably Scott Kugeline. Scott Kugeline
Who
will be the
debut against India, if you remember, right? He
yes,
made a debut against India. He was a
yeah,
good
yeah,
bowler. Yeah, his action was really nice.
yeah.
Okay, final
So
section, Shikhar, prediction.
wow, man. I'm going to say, man, I think the decision to rest Neil Wagner is going to cost New Zealand. I think with Neil Wagner,
Damn.
definitely they are winning this, but I think now the weak Australian batting lineup can also score runs. But yeah, I'm a bit confused between 1-1 and 2-0 for Australia, but I'll go with 2-0 for Australia. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would say 1-1 because I'm sure this series will be very tight and it will leave us angry at the end because we won't get to see a third match. So
Yeah,
I'm going with 1-1.
just like the India South Africa series, and I
Just
think
like the New
why
Zealand South Africa series last year as well. New Zealand and South Africa,
yeah,
like
yeah,
sorry, the last time when they played here, it
yes,
was
yes,
1-1. And
yes.
yeah,
And why I'm saying 2-0 is just because of one X factor that is Travis Head, because this guy
yeah,
can just randomly, I mean, he's not a great batsman, he's just an average kind of batsman, but you know what he does is the intent is just 2 to the 100 to
always.
the power X intent he comes with, and he just,
Yes.
and those small grounds, it could be going out of the grounds, his shots, if
He
he
got two
connects.
good knocks on his back, like in the T20 series. He got back to
Yeah,
back good knocks. So that guy is the dangerous guy. Yeah. And I'm only picking one match for New Zealand because Daryl Mitchell is
yeah,
back. And it would be a pleasure to see a Mitchell and Williamson partnership, one of the long partnership between these two. If that happens, I'll be glad. So
yeah. So let's see how it goes. Thank you guys for following, and please
yeah.
subscribe our channel for more content on cricket. And we'll be following the New Zealand and Australia series, the Trans-Tasman rivalry closely. Thank you, and please subscribe our channel, Cricket Caviar. Bye, Pratik.
Thank you, Shikhar. Thank you, our viewers.